joining us on the Nikki Maduro Show. I am Nikki Maduro. She is Kim McAllister. You know what I forgot?
Just typing, can you bring me a cocktail? Excellent.
You know what I forgot, though?
What'd you forget?
I don't think that my son is old enough to make me a cocktail. Honey is not home yet. Honey's not home. I need to text him. Hurry your ass home and make me my cocktail.
Make me a cocktail. That's my whole point as well.
Hold on. Let me text
what
the
a
husband.
Week. Oh,
you know, my
gosh.
husband's at the dollar store because he's doing this. And everybody, thank you for joining us. Please, if you can hit the thumbs up button, show your support for the show. We really, really do appreciate you guys so very much for being here. But this is Cocktails and News, and we have so much to talk about. The debate, the October surprise with Jack Smith's dropping, and the good news with the dock workers strike. But I need to text my husband because I forgot to make my own cocktail.
Well,
honey, I forgot my cocktail. Can you please come home quickly? Thank you. And send. Okay, there you go.
So this is quite a surprise here too, because there were a few things that were kind of all congealing together to really affect this presidential election. We have, what seems to be a wider regional conflict break out in the Middle East.
Yes. Oh my God. Indeed. Right.
We've got the striking port workers, which could really affect the economy. We know how much people are upset about the economy, even though things are getting better. But today we learned the striking port workers are set to return to work on Friday because they've reached an agreement on wages. They still have to vote on that. It's not a done deal, but it's a pretty done deal. And
it's a tentative agreement right now. But I mean, now here's the question, Kim. Now, I do believe that this was the right thing to do. I think with Hurricane Helene, I think with obviously we're still, dealing with COVID. My husband wrote me back.
Well, while you do that,
he's all at the mall. Have your son take care of it. My son is 13 years old. I'm not having him work for this, but anyway, I think that with everything that's been going on, I'm happy that the dock workers strike is being pushed off till after the election. Mm-hmm. But then the question is, who does it really benefit? Like, do you think that it helps either candidate right now with this being pushed off till after the election?
Well, I mean, for now, it benefits all of us because we're not going to have shortages of things. We're not going to have prices rising. I mean, probably benefits the Biden administration because
But it's not like they helped negotiate this deal. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Although President Biden did say he wouldn't get involved. That he wasn't going to stop this, like Reagan stopped the air traffic controller type thing. He wasn't getting involved.
He was going to get involved in that. Yeah, exactly.
But they got a chunk of a raise. It's a $4 per hour raise for each year of this 6-year contract.
But it's the automation thing that they're really, really trying to fight. I saw one video, and I don't know if you guys have seen it. I apologize, I don't have it ready. I saw one dock worker, and he had shown the automation. It was a fully automated dock. Mm-hmm. And I am telling you, I understand why they are fighting back on it. It's eerie. It was just like, how you've seen Amazon warehouses with the, obviously this was a massive scale because those containers are gigantic. Yeah. But the question is, if you strike against automation, is that not accelerating the use of automation? It's like you don't want me to use automation. I'm going to need to get these containers moved somehow. I don't have to pay a robot healthcare, sick leave. I don't know how we stop the progression to automation without striking to put it in our contract. Yeah. Like we've done it, right? With our SAG-AFTRA when we were working in radio, we made sure you could not replace our job with automation. But remember, there was that one reporter, we talked about it, I think, on this show, where that one music DJ, she was a woman. She's like, I'm gonna be sometimes on the radio and sometimes my voice is taking over. I'm like, are you thinking this
She actually put her voice into the system.
Exactly. I'm like, you're not thinking this through because once that gets popular, guess who's out of a freaking job, lady? You know what I mean? Come on.
In this case, though, with automation and physical labor, I don't necessarily know you can fight it in the same way. It seems like fighting progress. I would argue that AI and automated voices don't have the same impact, the same effect, the same sharing of ideas, the same connection with people. You know, you stumble over a word, people can relate. They might not have been able to pronounce that one either. You say something wrong, people relate. It's not the same robotic connection, right? As you and I may have with people that are joining us right now. It's a totally different thing. Whereas when you're looking at, you know, a crane, an automated crane lifting a trailer off of a container off of a container ship, that's a little harder to fight, I think. And so maybe it's we have different jobs for people.
So you think that they're going to have to phase out? So you're seeing that they're going to be phasing out these dock workers in the future?
Or maybe they do different things.
Like what?
When you have AI assisting computer programmers, you still have programmers.
Not as many.
Maybe you don't need quite as many of them, but you still have to have someone in charge of the AI stuff that's going on.
But it's going to be a guy that's working the computer. It's not going to be the guy that normally handles the controls of whatever's moving the container, unless you're training that guy to work the AI computer, which I highly doubt they're doing. Eric says, why do you think all the tech bros want a universal basic income? They know automation is inevitable, and we're going to have to learn how to deal with it as a society.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that we're ignoring the transition and how to educate these people and how to take care of the generation that's going to age out of these jobs and yet still need to make a living, right? Unless we plan to not make the retirement age later in life, but earlier, because now these people, what are they going to do? They can't work, let's just say, in our grocery stores, because now all of a sudden that's automated, right? I mean, they can't do all of these quote unquote easier tasks because now those are being taken over by computers. And we don't want to educate them to do the data or whatever, to educate them to do the AI stuff. What are we going to do with these people? I mean, what are we going to do? And it's a question that is coming up and coming up. So I get why this guy was so pissed. Now, this is the head of the union. Now, I'm just going to play it. Now, again, the headline is they've reached a tentative deal. So these tough words, of course, weren't necessary. But I'm telling you, when he was saying this stuff like this, I was thinking, like, I don't know if this is the right tactic that you should be taking, because it's harsh.
These people today don't know what a strike is. When my men hit the streets, from Maine to Texas, every single port, a lockdown. You know what's going to happen? I'll tell you. First week, be all over the news every night, boom, boom. Second week, guys who sell cars can't sell cars because the cars ain't coming in off the ships. They get laid off. Third week, malls start closing down. They can't get the goods from China. They can't sell clothes. They can't do this. Everything in the United States comes on a ship. They go out of business. Construction workers get laid off because the materials aren't coming in. The steel is not coming in. The lumber's not coming in. They lose their job. Everybody's hating the longshoremen now because now they realize how important our jobs are. Now I have the president screaming at me, I'm putting a Taft-Hartley on you. Go ahead. Taft-Hartley means I have to go back to work for 90 days. That's a cooling off period. Do you think when I go back for 90 days, those men are going to go to work on that pier? It's going to cost the companies money to pay their salaries. Well, they went from 30 moves an hour maybe to 8. They're going to be like this. Who's going to win here in the long run? You're better off sitting down and let's get a contract and let's move on with this world. In today's world, I'll cripple you. I will cripple you, and you have no idea what that means.
So, I mean, he was using even harsher words in, like, reporters. He was using some foul language, but I get it. I mean, I don't think Americans fully grasp. I even looked at my husband the other night and I was like, so how concerned are you? Because he works in HVAC. Obviously, you need all of these supplies to make these things run. And he was like, kind of concerned.
Yeah.
So it's one of these things where it's this web, and I was getting flashbacks of COVID and all of that sort of thing, and it was giving me agita, I'd be honest, but it was just, but I'm very grateful. Very, very grateful again. Headline is tentative agreement, January 15th. They're not going to strike. And I think between now and then, hopefully, something's going to happen. So
yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they handle the automation at the ports, how they handle that issue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let me read a couple more headlines. Agolf Twitler says Project 2025 says it will change overtime to any hours more than 160 per month, which will end overtime. Then Trump says he will stop taxing you on overtime hours you are not getting. Yeah, Trump has said he does not like overtime. He likes to bring in more people. That's what he said. Yeah. Heather says with supply chain stuff, though, the demand is so high. We've seen what shortages in the system do with the pandemic. If automation needs demands faster than humans do, it kind of makes sense. Eric says, I'm all for shorter work weeks without losing benefits or with universal benefits. Early sci-fi writers and futurists predicted a 20-hour work week decades ago. On that note, though, idle hands, Eric. Idle hands. People need purpose. I don't necessarily believe. Look what COVID did to us. Okay? Look what COVID did. I think people had way too much time to do their own research on some nonsense. You know what I mean? Like, I think people need purpose. I know we were all cooped up, and so that kind of, added to the whole thing. But people need a job. People need a reason to get up in the morning. I know at the beginning it might seem fun to be like, oh, I'll just relax. I'll go to the beach. I'll travel. After a while, though, I think people want to do something. Does that make sense? Like, go and do something.
Look at yourself. If you went down to, say they had you come in 3 days a week instead of 5.
Right.
You'd take those 2 extra days.
Yeah.
You wouldn't cause trouble. You'd be like, thank you very much. I'll just be getting some extra things done. Go on a little, extended weekend vacay.
True. I mean, yes, and you're right. I mean, I guess, but I'm just saying, if automation takes over too much of human jobs, that's what I'm saying. If we go too far in that way and we make ourselves obsolete, we do have control over this. This is the thing that always drives me nuts. It's as if we are like, what are we ever going to do? We're doing this to ourselves. It's not like we're not doing this to ourselves, but alas, it's as if we see the problem and our role in it, and we just don't want to do anything about it. But whatever, that's humans for you. That's just the way it is.
Well, Sandy agrees with you. She said her job gives her a certain sense of purpose, and she appreciates that.
Yeah, exactly. And Heather says, I work to live. I don't live to work. If I could get more lifetime back, I would not and she puts that lifetime back. I would not complain. Absolutely. I mean, exactly. I don't live to work. But I do want purpose. That's why I was using that word. I don't want to just lounge. You know what I mean? I would want to do something. I would want my life to have purpose. That's why I like doing my job. I really, really like my new job at the school. I mean, yeah, it's funny, and I'm just, these kids are absolutely freaking ridiculous. But it is in its own sense rewarding. It is. I mean, to kind of give back and do those sorts of things. So yeah. So I'm really, really happy again, really stoked, and hope that January 15th will go, and there will be no extension of this dock workers strike.
Hey, what was your opinion on the vice presidential debate? Did you watch it?
Okay, I'm so glad that you brought that up. Okay. First impression, it was civilized. Okay. I will say this. Even though I will give, like JD Vance is full of crap, right? Okay. He is so full of crap. And the whole, I will say there was 2 major flubs, one on each side. Okay. Obviously JD Vance with the whole, you said you weren't going to fact check me, which was just so funny. Yeah. And then of course, Walls with the, I'm friends with school shooters. Like obviously he didn't mean to say it like that.
He misspoke.
He misspoke, and it was obvious. So those are the 2 major ones. Okay. I would say, but I will say it was nice and refreshing to not have name calling. I do think that JD Vance bringing it all back to the Kamala Harris administration when it had nothing to do with the Kamala Harris administration. I think JD Vance always not knowing what the vice president's job actually was. I wish someone would be all, JD Vance, can you tell us what the vice president's job is? I wish that question would have been asked. Yeah. What does the vice president do? What is its responsibility?
That Kamala Harris had 3 years to do it and she didn't, because it wasn't her job.
It's so frustrating. And it was so frustrating that he kept saying it. And I was like screaming at the television. She can't do that. And do you actually think you have that power? And that was what was frightening to me, is that I think that Vance is looking, obviously, as the vice president, like that Trump's old and he's going to be president, right? That's what frightens me. And JD Vance is off his freaking rocker. So
they're already saying he's the future of the Republican Party, JD Vance.
And he's weird and out of his effing mind. So
here's the problem with him being nice and being and appearing reasonable.
Right.
It's like and I'm not religious, so please don't think I'm some kind of zealot. But it's like the devil puts on a coat that makes him look like a normal person, right?
Good analogy.
It's not, and then you're nice to him, right? Then Tim Walz is nice and cordial, and it's like, no, this is not someone that
it's not reasonable, right?
On one hand, I want there to be a nice, civilized debate, but on the other hand, these are not the people that you can do that with. These are not the people to go, hey, I think we might agree on some things here.
Right? No.
JD Vance is not that guy.
No,
he had his extremism tucked away.
Exactly.
Which means to me that he knows the difference.
How to play the game,
between being this crazy extremist and what people will accept in the normal people, the most of the people will accept. He knows the differences between his audience, and that's almost scarier to me. That he believes this stuff, because you think someone might be a little out of their gourd when they believe this, but he isn't. He believes it, and he knows how to play the game. It's very frightening.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and that's so true, because I was thinking almost exactly the same thing. I was like, he's being reserved. He's still saying the things that are going to please Trump. But did you see that Trump got bored? Did you see he got bored during the debate? He started tweeting about Pete Rose. I'm like, are you not watching? He's like, oh, this is lame. But I completely agree with you, Kim. I think that he knew that he had to pull back on the crazy because people were annoyed. But he still wouldn't say that, about the 2020 election, which says everything you need to know. That's it.
He really tried not to be so offensive when it came to women's reproductive rights.
Right.
But even that was kind of a hard road.
Yeah.
I kept calling my sister during the breaks and said, to say, what did you think? What did you think? Right. What did you, whatever. And she kept saying, well, and she would basically say what we're saying and then say, but I just think none of this matters.
No,
she said people don't watch this like they watch the presidential debate, and people don't base their vote on what happens on a vice presidential debate.
No, I mean,
and that's true, but I think it's really important for people to watch to know who's next in line.
Yeah.
Know these people. Who would you rather have running the show? You think Tim Walz would be a good president just in case?
Absolutely.
Do you think JD Vance would be a good president just in case?
No.
There you go. There's another, it's like another, line on the whiteboard if you're looking at who's got what.
Well, here's the thing, Kim, and this is what I don't understand for all of you conservatives out there. Today, I think, it was today, a Cheney, a freaking Cheney.
Liz
Cheney. Rallied for Kamala Harris, a Cheney. I mean, the conservative. I do not understand any freaking Republican that can look at Liz effing Cheney and not say that she is the definition of a conservative, right? I mean, give me an effing break, okay? And not believe that she is a rhino. Okay, like you cannot call her a rhino. You can't. That is, if you think that Liz Cheney is a rhino, you are so in a cult. You are so not believing in the Republican Party as it actually is and you are total MAGA cult, just out of your mind, okay? Because Donald Trump is not a Republican. Donald Trump is for and only what Donald Trump wants, okay? I had a little clip, but do you have a clip all ready to go?
Yeah, you want to play it?
Go ahead.
Our Capitol to allow law enforcement officers to be beaten and brutalized in his name and to violate the law and the Constitution in order to seize power for himself. I don't care if you are a Democrat or a Republican or an independent. That is depravity, and we must never become numb to it. Any person who would do these things can never be trusted with power again. We must defeat Donald Trump on November 5th. In that election 20 years ago, when we were campaigning in Wisconsin and all across the country, we were campaigning as compassionate conservatives. What January 6th shows us is that there is not an ounce of compassion in Donald Trump. He is petty, he is vindictive, and he is cruel. And Donald Trump is not fit to lead this good and great nation.
And here's the other thing. Like, this is what I say to my conservative friends out there. Why do you think so many Republicans are saying don't vote for Donald Trump? Why do you think so many people that Donald Trump chose when he was president last time, that worked closely with him, saw up close how he was as president, are saying, do not vote for this guy again? Are they just out of their mind? Or do you possibly think they saw something, heard something, know something about the dude? I'm sorry that your Republican Party could not put forth an actual candidate. I'm sorry, but your party did not. So we cannot have an actual race and about policy, about the actual issues. I'm sorry you had to go back to the old candidate that's out of his effing mind, okay? But that's what your party decided to do. Now, if they could have put forth an actual Republican and we could have debated, the actual ideas, okay. But you didn't. You chose a convict, a felon, a convicted felon. All right? So, love you, but no.
It's disheartening, but also nice that it's easy to see the people who believe in the Constitution and will stand up for America regardless of the cost.
Right.
Liz Cheney lost her job.
Yep.
Because of so many Trump supporters, because people don't get it. But
and she laid out the evidence so
father, her dad, and many Republicans who worked in the Trump administration and saw firsthand what happened there. They all thinking, I am going to stand up for the Constitution. That is what the United States is based on. The Constitution is the United States. Trump's worried about flag burning while he's ready to burn the Constitution. Are you kidding me?
Well,
patriotism is standing up to keep our Constitution in place, the rule of law in place, and our country standing. And what they want to do is tear it down. I'm not okay with it.
Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, I don't think that we're 30-something days away, right? I mean, again, in 30-something days, it's over. Like, whichever way it goes, it's over. And I'm just ready. So freaking ready. I am. I'm ready for it to be over. Whatever way it falls, I'm just ready. I honestly am ready. Like, I hope to turn the page and we don't have to talk about Donald Trump anymore. I just would love for him to just go away, obviously. If it goes the other way, I'm going to be so effing exhausted.
I have a feeling we're going to be mired in lawsuits. We're going to be mired down in courts. There's going to be people that are now in place that won't certify elections. They're going to be recounting things. They're going to be unnecessarily, there's going to be all kinds of lawsuits. There will be people, they're putting bulletproof glass and panic buttons in the places where the votes are tallied and counted. because they're afraid that these Trumpy people are going to come with their AK-47s and open fire. Like, this is America. What? This is what we've come to now. Well, and so I don't know if we're going to be done with it. I don't know why we have
to have all this. I mean, again, now here's the other question. So the whole Jack Smith redacted, 165-page motion was dropped. Here's a question for you, Kim. And I know, we talked about, the Hillary Clinton thing when she ran against Donald Trump. Do you think that this is election interference? Given the fact that we already had, and what's in it, given the fact that we did have, the whole congressional hearing and everything like that, do you think this closed 30-something days before the election? No. Do you think that the judge allowing this? Now, I'm asking you to put aside the fact that you can't stand this guy.
I have a reason.
Okay.
All right. My reason is because it's Trump's fault. Because he tried to kick the can down the road, went to the Supreme Court, got his immunity ruling, did everything else. If the case had proceeded as it was proceeding, we might be nearly done with it.
Okay.
But because he is the master of delay tactics,
right? Now
we're down to the month before the election. So when you look at who's to blame for the delay, I blame Trump for the delay. Okay. So no, I don't think it's, unless he's trying to interfere with his own election, which you could argue that he is. I don't think so. I don't think it's Democrats trying to interfere with the election. I think it's Trump's delay tactics that got in the way.
I mean, I just feel like the stuff that's in it is nothing new, right? I mean, the stuff that's in it is things that we already knew. I mean, we knew this. I mean, it's kind of the conversations. I love this stuff about Mike Pence and how he was trying to like fluff up Donald Trump. It's like, but you really invigorated the Republican Party and feel good about it. It's like Pence, he's really trying to placate the dude as if that's enough for Donald Trump, right? He's like, no. Like, I wanted to win. And
like, then when Trump is in mortal danger and running through the halls of Congress trying to get away from a throng of people that are on the move, right? And Social Security, the Secret Service is trying to, get him to safety, and Trump is told about it. His answer? So what?
I know, whatever. I mean, do you expect any different from him though? Thank you, Harry, for the $5 donations. Yeah, these are. I just have a million. These are Amazon. They're. Thank you. They're very cute. Thanks for the love of the new glasses. If Trump loses, it will become the election that never ends. Do not talk about my nightmare. I just want it to all end.
Harry's not wrong.
I want to talk about boring things. I want politics to be boring again. Make politics boring again. Just talk about policy. You know what I mean? Yeah. Let's make it boring again.
Thank you for the contribution, Harry. Lord knows we need it, so we appreciate it.
Exactly. Yeah. Calvin says that 30 days before an election isn't written in the Constitution, and it's not mandatory at all. It's nice if you could avoid it, but justice must prevail. I mean, they always talk about the October surprise, right? I mean, it seems like surprise. But yeah, I mean, it's none of this is a surprise, though. Nothing in Jack Smith's motion is a surprise. No. We know all of this stuff. That's why I don't really feel like it's quote unquote election interference. We have been talking about Donald Trump doing all of this crap since January 6th.
Yeah, so that's true.
I mean, I just really feel like.
Let me paint a dream picture for you.
Oh, is this a dream or a nightmare?
This is my dream.
Okay. Okay.
The election happens.
Okay.
Kamala Harris wins in a landslide. Not only the popular vote, there's no ability to contest the electoral college votes. Swing states go overwhelming. It's all the crazy polling. It's like, what? That polling made no sense. Kamala Harris wins.
Okay.
And now, because we have these charges now, new charges rolling against Trump, we can actually hold him accountable for what he did to America, which is still creating problems and questions about, you know, whether our voting is safe and what happens with our election and has shaken the American people in a way that we haven't been shaken before, right?
Well, that's why he's running, Kim. That is why he's running.
Third world countries. This doesn't happen here. You know, we have a stable system, or so we thought. And so after she wins and the charges keep rolling, he's finally held accountable. He's finally found guilty in connection with inciting January 6th and all of the rotten ways that he tried to cheat and stay in power, from fake slates of electors to calling people in different states and saying, just find me the votes. All of these things dealt with. All of these things he's held accountable for. And off he goes in his orange prison jumpsuit, and we never have to see him again.
Ta-da! How many of you think that Kim's dream is going to come true? I mean, it'd be nice. The problem with your dream, Kim, is that, it doesn't matter. California doesn't matter. There's so many states that, and I hate saying that, you know what I mean? But it's going to come down to these handful of states, right? And it sucks. It sucks that it's like that. I really do. I really... We could talk and bitch and moan about the Electoral College, right? I mean, and it depends on the year and, the gerrymandering and all sorts of stuff, right? Yeah. But it does suck the way the system still is. I understand. I really do understand why it was set up that way back when. It doesn't make sense in current times. It doesn't. But to change it would require a concession that I don't think these parties would ever feel safe to give, right? So I don't see it changing anytime soon. Nancy says, I'm scared out of my mind about the election. I want to ease people's fears, okay? Because you guys have to come to terms with the fact that there is a real possibility that Donald Trump is going to become president again. I'm going to say that out loud because it is a real possibility. You guys cannot... live in this fairy tale land where it's not possible. I, like you, believe that people are smarter than that. But, current times also prove that's not necessarily true at all. Okay, so people believe all kinds of nonsense. People actually believe the nonsense that Donald Trump says. Yeah. Okay. I also believe that people believe the nonsense because they benefited from it. Okay. That is what I think is true. I think that when people benefit from a certain time, right, under a certain president, they're fine with it. And whether that's okay or not, I don't think bothers certain people, right? Or maybe they look at it a certain way through certain eyes. I don't know why. But Donald Trump is lying to people constantly. And some people are okay with it. A lot of people aren't. I'm not okay with it. Too many people are not smarter than that, sad to say. Yeah, I guess, Jennifer. I guess. I don't know, Kim. I don't know why it's so close. I don't know why it's so close. But there's obviously a lot of people that feel different than us. I don't know why.
Joe Blow thinks this is going to backfire and make more people vote for Trump. I don't think so. But Joe.
What will backfire?
The filing of the charges, I am assuming.
I mean,
the refiling of these charges, yeah.
I feel like the news cycle never stops. Like, it's different nowadays. And again, with Trump, nothing seems to surprise people, right? Because again, there is no bar for him. He can do and say anything he wants to, right? No. He can say anything he wants to. He can say that let's take literal illegal citizens and ship them back to where they are. And if any other candidate said that out loud, they would just be, they'd have to run for the hills, but not him.
Sue Ann says, I'm more worried about Trump winning, physically failing, and Vance being president as Peter Thiel hopes. Vance then as a puppet.
Absolutely. I mean, did you also see, but there are, okay, this is the other thing that I just want to point out. There are actual people being held accountable for what happened in 2020. This ex-county clerk in Arizona, Mesa County, Colorado clerk, Tina Peters, just today was, she believed in the 2020 election conspiracy theories, sentenced today to 9 years behind bars after being convicted of charges including official misconduct in connection with the security breach of Mesa County's voting system. Now, Tina Peters was convicted of 4 felony and 3 misdemeanor charges for using another person's security badge to allow someone associated with Mike Lindell, the My Pillow guy, a prominent election denier, and of course, friend of Donald Trump, access to county election equipment involving Dominion voting systems. Those machines had to be replaced, blah, blah, blah. The judge was pissed. I mean, he read her the riot act. I think I actually had it. I mean, he was basically saying he said the judge told Peters she had no consideration for how her lies had harmed her county and colleagues. He says the damage is immeasurable. He says, and I'm convinced you would do it all over again. He called her a charlatan who used her time in office to peddle snake oil. He said every time one of her conspiratorial claims gets refuted, shown to be false, another tale is weaved. You're as defiant a defendant as I've ever seen.
Wow.
And he said he called her a fox guarding the hen house. It was her job to protect election equipment, and she turned on it and used her power for her own advantage. Yeah, I mean, she had no remorse for it. And yeah, she's going to serve 9 years in prison for this nonsense. There was no evidence of it. Again, every time people were asked to produce evidence of the so-called fake elections, fake votes, they never were able to prove it.
Never.
And yet,
lawsuit after lawsuit.
Dozens, never able to prove it. People begged Donald Trump for the evidence, begged Republicans, please give me the evidence. I'll get it to you. Never produced the evidence. Never. And yet, we're going to make this guy president again. Effing liar.
Ricky Aubert says, oh, the days of tar and feathers for lying politicians.
I wish.
I'm going to say something really unpopular right now.
Okay.
I believe please poke holes in this theory if you can. Okay. I believe that there are certain crimes against America that are so egregious that you should have your citizenship taken from you.
Ooh.
Okay. So if you cheat,
like what? Okay.
If you cheat on an election, all right.
Okay.
Election cheating, trying to thwart the will of the American voter, you
so
are
like
not
Donald
a citizen.
Trump. Okay.
Right.
So he's not a okay. So
or
he can't
this lady in Arizona. Okay. If you're entrusted with ensuring that the members of your community or your state have their votes counted, because that's what we base things on here in America, one voice, one vote, and you're going against the tenets and the principles of this country, and you're found to have done something so horrible like that, your citizenship gets stripped, and good luck. I hope that you can find some other country to take you. Because you're not welcome here.
Wow, look at Kim.
And I think Trump is the prime candidate for a citizenship stripping. You're out. You don't believe in the Constitution. You don't believe in the United States of America.
But like, yeah.
Not only that, you tried to break it. Citizenship stripped.
Well, where do they
You're
go?
Out.
What
go
other
find a country. Who gives a rat's ass? You're out. You are out.
You're somebody else's problem. Where do we send them, though?
Good luck.
Twiller says no one else would want them. I mean, what kind of exchange do we do? I mean, take our trash? Like, I don't think that that's fair to the other countries, right?
Well,
what are we going to do? We got to take someone in return, I think.
Find a deserted island. Go live on Epstein Island, whatever. Find a deserted island somewhere where you can set up shop and be by yourself, because you've now shown that you're not capable of being an American citizen. I don't want you here anymore. Give me back whatever citizenship you had. You're done. We'll give it to an immigrant that actually wants to be here and believes in the Constitution. Otherwise, you're done. You're done.
I mean, yeah. I don't know.
That's not the law, by the way, but I want it to be the law.
It's like you have to wear some sort of scarlet letter or something, Mama Three Boys says, not unpopular. I agree with you. Deport them to Europe. I don't know if like just sending them to other countries as if that's just going to be easy for them to take is really going to be the answer there, people. But okay. Eric says, the man without a country, force him to live in a ship in international waters.
That's right.
Ooh,
You're out.
Yeah. That's actually a pretty good idea. International waters. You have nobody takes you. Make do. The island where they sent Napoleon, John says. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, what do we do with people that just betray their country like that? You know what I mean? Like, I guess in America, we might make them president again. That's the answer. I guess in America, when you do the things that Donald Trump did, you might make them president again.
I'm sure that Putin would let him in. Absolutely.
Ooh.
Vicky and Sausalito said Trump can be stuck in Siberia with his buddy Putin. Absolutely.
Oh, Cindy, thank you so much for the $10 donation. Thank you. Thank you. Miracle Congress passed NAPA AAIA, now law renews national Alzheimer plan for research, care, and support and coordination between the federal and state.
Nice.
The Pray Project 2025 won't screw with this. Oh, they pray that the Project 2025 won't screw it up. Love your Thursday shows. That's good to hear, Cindy. Thank you so much. We talked about the walk and the Alzheimer's walk and the research and all of that. Thank you so much for sharing that and for the $10 super chat donation. Thank you so much for your support and for sharing that with us. Yeah, I don't know about what we do with people that betray their country. But because there's also people, Kim, that say, that an act of defiance against your country is American, right? I mean, there are people that say that when you protest your government, that is an American act.
Okay, there's a difference between protesting your government and trying to topple it. There's a difference between standing out with a sign and saying, I don't know, pick an issue and doing your protest and making your point and standing on your soapbox versus cheating and taking away people's votes because you don't like the way they're voting. No.
Yeah.
Big difference.
I get it.
One's a traitorous crime. One is a simple protest. We can disagree. You might say voting machines are bad and stand outside with a sign. But when you go inside and start tampering with them, then I got a problem with you.
Yeah. And what's also annoying is that these are the same people that protest about, tampering with elections. And they always telegraph what they're actually doing. It's so freaking annoying, right? It's like, oh, you mean what you're actually doing, what you're going to 9 years in prison for? That whole thing.
Here is the craziest thing. Harry is right. The issue with the MAGA people, he says, is that they think they're being patriotic. There they are waving the flag and I love America and the flag hats and the flag pins. Yeah, and they're voting for a guy who doesn't believe in the United States Constitution. How more un-American could you be? And that is why Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney, who get it, have stood up to say no more. We can't do it.
And again, I just keep going back to this. I don't understand why Republican after Republican and cabinet members, former cabinet members, and people that worked on Donald Trump's staff, why, if all of these people coming forward and saying, this isn't the dude, why that's not resonating with more people. That is what I just don't understand. It's like, when you get a recommendation, right? Like that's why people get recommendations. It's like you want to know from the people that were close to them, what's this person really like? And it's as if it's like, nope, I'm not going to believe it until you're harmed by that person, right? Yeah. It's this cult of personality. And I don't know,
I was having a discussion with my husband the other day about if we could just be done with Trump. If, I saw a meme, and I know this is rather vulgar, and I apologize, about how we have to flush twice, clearly, right? Like, this is a flush twice moment. This election is the second flush. We flushed
what's
you the
that
first
turd
time,
want? Yeah,
flushing you the second time, and off you go into wherever turds go. But in this particular, I know, it's gross. But why, what happens if we flush again, he goes away, are we done with it? Are we done with this ugly part of America, with this nastiness, with this, question mark over not conceding elections, all of these things? And my husband's point was that Trump, if you look at it like a tree, he's just the diseased branch where you can see it's diseased on top. But inside, we're somehow diseased all the way through. The trunk of the tree is diseased inside.
Yeah.
And so it's the people that are at fault for voting for Trump and not Trump. He's the symptom. He's not the problem. So then what is our problem? Our problem is that we have people scared that they're losing their position and their power in this society, right? They're scared of women, they're scared of minorities, they're scared of immigrants, they're scared of all these things.
The othering, yeah.
That somehow that their, privilege is going to be sunk down. And they're scared and they're angry over it. And is that our disease? Is that where we have to attack to show people that there's a place for everyone? That we don't have to be scared of each other?
Well, I also think that our politics, and I think that our Congress has a big role in this. I think how we elect people, how politics play out, how people actually run for office, right? Like what we require in people running for office. How they run, the dirty campaigning, right? How we present issues is also the problem. Congress is broken. I hope, okay, there's two things I hope, okay, with this election. One, the Kamala Harris wins. Mm-hmm. Two, that when she does make her cabinet, that she keeps her promise and puts Republicans in substantial positions. And what I mean is, responsible Republicans, moderate Republicans. I want to see a bipartisan Congress, a true bipartisan Congress. Now, I say this with a huge caveat because I do think that we need to have some sort of understanding about major issues in this country when it comes to, one, women's rights, and two, immigration. I think that those are the two issues that vilify people the most, right? Like they're just like, we have done nothing about immigration. We've done nothing about immigration, right? And obviously Roe v. Wade should have never been touched. I don't care what you say. Roe v. Wade should have never been touched. I think people were fine with leaving it as it was. They were fine with it. They really were. If you don't like it, don't have one. But government should not be involved in women's decisions of what they do with their body.
Absolutely.
Plain and simple. Okay.
You know who agrees with you? Melania.
Yeah, exactly. Melania is pro-choice.
Yeah.
But so is Donald Trump, by the way. Mm-hmm. He's full of crap, but he is.
Yeah.
Anyways, Roe v. Wade should have just been left alone. And we do need to do something about the border. I think that Democrats have really dropped the ball. I do. But I also think Republicans don't want to work with Democrats on it either. They don't want to give them the win. They could have with that bipartisan bill, but Trump told them no. Right. So that bill should be signed. Check. And Roe v. Wade should be back to being the law of the land. I think that if we can get those two things done, right? Like then we can continue to move forward on things with the economy. We should be moving jobs back to America. I think this dock worker strike is a good example of that, right? We need to be building things in America. I do think that there is an agreement that needs to be made regarding, energy here, but also understanding about climate change. Like all of these things are boring policy discussions that could be had if we can have Republicans and Democrats at the table and this kind of bickering politics out of it. But it also requires like taking that need to constantly campaign out of it. Right? Like they're constantly campaigning. So it has to be, the Democrats aren't going to give you that. I have to give you that. Like it's that Citizens United dark money BS. So they have to vilify the other.
Nope, you went away. But while you fix your microphone.
They have to vilify the other side because that's why they're. Okay, so that's what I was trying to say. It's the constant campaigning so they won't give the other side a win. So if we can compromise, then hopefully we can get things done. That's my spiel. Okay? I want to back to boring politics.
We have some good texts or chats to read. Harry says politics is a contact sport. That's a quote from Bill Clinton. Ricky says fear is a most powerful motivator. And that's another thing we've been talking about on the Mark Thompson show. Is it fear that motivates people to come out and vote, or is it the hope that motivates people to come out and vote? Because historically, Democrats have given messages of hope and Republicans messages of fear. So what is it that motivates more people?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Carlene says, how about sending Trump to one of his so-called S-hole countries?
Good question.
Love it. As long as you're not in America, I'm good to go.
Exactly.
Agolf says Kamala Harris will be the first U.S. president with career experience in the judicial, legislative, and executive branches of government. How's that for who's more experienced, right?
Right.
Yeah. Jennifer wants us to kick corporations and religion out of politics.
Yep, I agree.
Kevin says we need to send the GOP a message by voting them out. Agree. And then Deidre brings up this issue, and I don't know if you heard this story, but this is awful, and it was kind of raised at the vice presidential debate.
Yeah.
This woman in Eureka that almost died because of a Catholic hospital not giving her the reproductive care she needed when her water broke at 15 weeks, and she had a major medical emergency. And you heard J.D. Vance during the debate say, would you force the nuns to give her an abortion? I would. I know I wouldn't if it's your choice, I would say you should go somewhere else. They don't believe in that there. But if it's a medical emergency and your life is at stake, the nuns need to get on board. This is a life-saving operation where you have just a few moments sometimes to figure it out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you really believe in? If you believe in the sanctity of life, the fetus in this case is probably not going to live.
Right.
But you could save the life of the mother, so do you really value life?
Yeah. I mean, again, the issue of abortion and government, when we played it last week with Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg,
right?
It is never made easier with the government throwing its opinion in there. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's never made easier. And this whole idea of this quote unquote late term abortion nonsense, it's a non-starter. There's no discussion about it because it is always a tragedy, right? And so again, it's just ridiculous. And what's funny is the idea that the Republican Party is the smaller government party, this idea that the government should stay out of your lives, except in what is non-arguably is the most private of areas. Your body. Government should stay out of. Hands down. No question. Me, myself, and I, my thoughts, my body, everything. Government should stay out of it. Like, that's it. That is absolutely it. So
everybody was posting a couple days ago, oh, it's National Daughters Day. Let's post a picture of our daughter. Guilty, I did it. I saw someone say today, actually, National Daughters Day is November 5th. It's election day. So if you really want to do something for your daughter, then vote, to preserve her reproductive rights on November 5th. Vote for Kamala Harris. Yeah.
Well, you sent me this story and I was cracking up about it. So there was this GOP candidate who apparently took this picture. Now, when you see this picture, I'm sure you think that this is a man with his lovely, lovely family. But apparently this is a guy. Now, Kim, this is his friend's family. Is that correct?
Yeah. This is his buddy. He's like, hey, can I borrow your wife and kids? You can stand over here or you can take the picture because I'm going to need to stand behind your wife and kids.
You know what's funny is he's trying to sell, like, I was just wanting to stand with some Americans. It's like, no. This is a picture that looks hands down like a guy with his wife and kids. Now, it's because the guy doesn't have a family. He doesn't have a wife and kids. So his name is Derek Anderson. He's running in Virginia for a congressional district there. And he doesn't have a family of his own. And so he asked his friends' family to stand in. Now, if he really did mean it, he just wanted to stand with Americans. Why didn't he ask his friends to stand there too?
Right.
I mean, why wasn't the other guy standing there? Why weren't they all like arms around each other, like having a beer or doing something fun, right?
No,
exactly.
He stole someone's family for the image, right?
That is weird.
Yeah.
But I liked that story because a couple of days beforehand, I had seen this like meme or whatever online, and it was just a question, and it said, you never hear the term childless man, right? Like it's always a childless woman, but it's never a childless man. As if there is some sort of negative or you're docked to something if you don't have a child, right? As if which J.D. Vance talks about all the time, like women need to have children. There was a whole thing about seatbelts. Did you hear him like going out like seatbelts have reduced the number of people having children because or car seats because there's not enough space for car seats. It's like he's really obsessed with people having more and more children. I'm just going to let you know, J.D. Vance wants women to reproduce, like a lot. a lot, a lot, a lot. So I don't know. It's just, he's an odd duck. I'm just going to say that out loud. He's a really, really odd duck, and I am not looking forward to him being the new face of the Republican Party. He's a really weird dude. So I'm just going to leave it at that. And I do think it was weird that congressional candidate decided to take a picture with his friends, family.
You know what's crazy about Vance is his wife is super educated, right? They went to Yale. So she's a Yale law school graduate. Was a corporate litigator. Like, she's a super educated lady. How in the world could she end up with that guy?
Educated people can date weirdos.
Whatever. Like, really? Here's a woman whose families at some point immigrated. You know, I don't know if she's first generation or whatever, but every time he says something about immigrants, I think, oh God, what is Usha's family thinking about right now? This is awful.
Well, yeah. I mean, every time, like, Trump talks about sending migrants back, he's married to one. Like,
exactly.
This is what boggles my mind. You know what I mean? It's just, do you read the room, man? Like, you benefit all this. Like, Donald Trump talks about, like, people can't afford eggs, and in the same breath is selling like who was it? It was Eddie Vedder was talking about, like, he was selling like between a $500 and a $100,000 gold watch. Like, if people are so hard up for money, why are you selling these expensive ass things? It's just, it doesn't make sense,
I believe Eric is right. This guy should have used
yes.
AI to generate a family for him. His name, by the way, is Derek.
True.
His name is Derek Anderson.
Yeah.
He's a former Green Beret running for an open seat in Virginia's 7th district. He's a Republican, and it's all part of this push to try to have Republicans appear as this softer family kind of image.
No, it's just crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's enough Trump talk. All right. So 30-something days, we're done with Trump. Let's move on a little bit. A little bit closer to home to another politician. There's a bunch of new California laws, right? Governor Newsom, though, signed this one, which I don't know, man. This is the one that was getting a lot of criticism. I don't know if you saw it. That 4 a.m. last call bill. Did you hear about this one? So last call.
This very cronyism. This one.
I feel like Gavin Newsom doesn't give an F. Yeah. So last call is 2 a.m. in California, but apparently in the LA Clippers' new state-of-the-art arena, Intuit Dome, they're going to serve alcohol until 4 a.m. It's the only place. He wrote a law only for this place. It will allow 100 club members to be served wine, beer, and liquor until 4 a.m. in private suites inside the dome after games and after concerts. It's sponsored by the group owned by Steve Ballmer, the current Clippers owner and former CEO of Microsoft, and who also apparently was tied to that dinner during COVID that Newsom got vilified for. Now, apparently, Newsom, they're like trying it out, and he's gone over, the need for something like this. I just don't know if he reads the room well enough. Like, exactly, Deidre. She's like, I used to like Newsom, but this is ridiculous. And again, 4 a.m. after games and concerts.
Well, this is only for special VIPs inside a special
not
club
everybody exactly
at Intuit Dome. So it's the
it's
the
the
rich people, the owners, it's the hoity-toity crowd. Yeah.
It still needs a final approval from the city, I guess, but I mean, come on. Opponents worry the last call hours will lead to more drunk driving and promote excessive drinking. But again, I'm assuming these people have limos. Mm-hmm. But then again, they might not. I mean, look, Justin Timberlake got a DUI. You would assume he'd have a driver, right? I mean, you assume things about rich people, but then they have like these fast cars that they just want to drive, right? So who knows if they're going to be safe. In a signing message, Newsom also said he would direct the CHP to work with local police to monitor drunk driving incidents in the area and report back findings. It sunsets the law in 2030. I don't get him.
Let me raise this. Here's the problem with this. You have a law for one owner and VIPs at Intuit Dome. According to state records, Ballmer's wife, Connie, donated $1 million to Newsom's Stop the Republican Recall campaign. Murphy's Bowl donated more than $700,000 to lobby state lawmakers and Newsom for proposals that would make it easier for alcohol companies to advertise and install face scanning technology to verify legal drinkers. So is this the same thing that he did with Quiznos and the having to pay people at fast food more, except for Quiznos?
But he pulled that back.
But not until he was called on the carpet.
Exactly. But I mean, he doesn't seem to be pulling back on this.
He's and like, now we've got this one. These people have donated to his campaign, and they're like, hey, we want to be able to serve till 4 in the special VIP club. And he's like, well, you did donate $1 million.
I'm going to make a law? Like,
really?
Why not just turn the other cheek? You know what I mean? Like, why not just tell the security at the Intuit Dome, like, hey, let these guys stay late? Like, why do you have to have a freaking law for it?
I'm
like,
disappointed.
Seriously, he's an idiot. Like, sorry, Newsom, you're a dumbass.
He's done so many good things, but when it comes to having some ethics as far as you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, he doesn't necessarily have that. I mean, he's in a position of authority. He can't be playing favorites for people that give him money. It's awful.
It's
not
so
to mention
stupid.
PG&E, don't get me started. But
that's what
there's some
saying.
things
it's so
where
dumb.
it's like, come on.
I don't understand why rich people just can't rent out the suite every night that there's a concert or a party and just rent it out till 4 a.m. Like, you're rich. Just do that. Rich people do that, right?
Heather says, I don't play favorites or give special favors. Proceeds to play favorites and give special favors.
I feel like he's just ruining his chances to become president.
Mama says, I honestly don't believe that morality and wealth are compatible. I think that's a great question. But look at someone like, I know, Taylor Swift, okay? Billionaire. I know, but she's paying her people extra bonuses. She's donating all over the place. Does she spend a lot on clothes and homes and trips? Whatever. Yes. But she's also donating so much money. I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I think you could be a rich person and have some values and morals.
I completely agree. I think it matters where you come from, your upbringing. I also think it's also what you go through, right? Like, I feel like Newsom, I don't know his complete life story, right? Yeah. But like, when you just kind of have it easy, and I don't know if everything's been easy in his life, right? But you know, you're the mayor, then you're the governor, and people give you crap, and like, you know, like, I get to do what I want to do for so long that you're just like, I'm going to continue to do what I want to do. Yeah, Dolly Parton's another great one, Eric, right?
Good example.
Great example. It's just. Yeah, I think there's people that take their money and are like, I'm going to do good things with it. And then there's other people that are like, I'm going to take my money and I'm going to have great parties. And then when I'm in power, I'm going to use that power to help my friends. And I'm not saying that Gavin Newsom hasn't done great things. I think that he has. I also think that he's used his power and sucked, right? Yeah. So I've been disillusioned with Mr. Newsom as of late. So
true, but still, if you put up a Gavin Newsom against a Donald Trump, I'd go Gavin Newsom every day.
I mean, if you go a cactus against Donald Trump, I would vote for the cactus.
But I would assume that then in the White House there would be special favors being dispensed all over the place.
Yeah, that's true. But you put a Pete Buttigieg against Gavin Newsom, I'm going Buttigieg 10 times over. So absolutely. I just feel like, again, it's this idea of, if we like this person or we like their music, like, does that make them a good person all the time? No, it does not. Again, this Sean Diddy, Puff Daddy Combs thing that's coming out, I am getting more disgusted. The news about the fact that the youngest victim was 9 years old, and that, did you hear the attorney? If you guys aren't keeping up on this, I know it's you hear, Sean Combs. Do you guys understand? Maybe you didn't listen to his music, and I'm not a huge P. Diddy fan. Okay, I wasn't somebody that downloaded or bought his music, but I know of him. And the fact of the people and the tendrils of this, how many people are allegedly going to be connected to this? They're thinking hundreds of celebrities. The attorney was like, the names will shock you. Drop the freaking names already. They say, I think he said within the next 30 days. You want to talk about cult of personality and this idea of celebrity, Kim, right? Like just this idea of, oh yeah, absolutely, Kay. Diddy's where he belongs now. The moment that he wasn't able to get bail, and I mentioned this when we first started talking about it, when he wasn't able to get bail and he's rich, I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
They got something on him. The judge was like, no, like you are not getting out. I mean, apparently the youngest victim was 9, in addition to other children. Okay, other children. Men. It's not mainly, but mostly men. Okay, not saying there weren't women, but the videotapes. I was talking like me and my coworkers are just about this. Like we are just, oh my God, about this sort of stuff. And I'm telling you, like, I know a lot of people are mentioning Jay-Z. There's a lot of conspiracies and stuff. Like people are like, oh my God, Jay-Z lost all of these Instagram followers because of it. Apparently that's not true. He's always had like not that many Instagram followers. I don't know. I don't care. I'm just waiting for the names. I want this attorney to drop the names. I want to know. Trump was really good friends with Sean Combs was friends with a lot of people. All these videos though of his past interviews where he's like, now what we know, it seems like he's just telling people all the time what he does, and nobody was putting it together. And so I don't know. I'm still
even on talk shows.
Yeah, like Ellen and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
He was talking about these parties all the time. And then did you see the Garth Brooks story?
No.
So now Garth Brooks is facing sexual assault charges.
Really?
Garth Brooks has been accused of sexually assaulting and battering a woman who claims she worked as his hairstylist and makeup artist.
Oh, no.
The woman, according to CNN, suing the 62-year-old country star for sexual assault and battery, filed today in California. Apparently it happened in 2019. According to CNN, obviously Garth Brooks is denying it. According to the filing, he exposed himself to the victim, alleged victim, regularly changed his clothes in front of her, talked about sex and his fantasies with her, and sent her explicit text messages. During one alleged incident in 2019, the victim claims she was at his home for work when he walked out of the shower naked, grabbed her hands, and forced them onto his genitals while saying vulgar things. So those are the allegations against Mr. Garth Brooks. Now, again, allegations. But the reason I mention all of these is celebrity, I feel like, gives people this buffer, right? Like they couldn't possibly do this. It's Sean Combs, it's Garth Brooks. Like you mentioned, and again, I'm not trying to put like Taylor Swift. Like I feel like we see certain people and we're like, that could never be that person, right? Like I remember when we were talking, what's his name? Who's the comedian? Not Bill Cosby, but the guy that would pleasure himself in front of comedians.
Oh God, help us, everyone.
Help, guys. The comedian.
I know who you're talking about.
Okay, so you guys figure it out and remind me. Mm-hmm. So I remember I was on with Louis C.K. Thank you. Yeah. I was on with Chip, and Chip knows him, and it was the same exact thing. Chip looks at me, he's like, "No way," and I was like, "Why?" And he's like, "No way." Like now he believes it, obviously, but he's like, "No way," and I was like, "Why?" And it's because when you know somebody, and he like knew him, but it's just this idea of like, of course that person, you feel like you know that person, and then it's all of a sudden like, oh wait a minute. And then when this list of celebrities come down, like I will tell you, Kim McAllister, if my Matthew McConaughey is on that list, I am telling you, I will be devastated.
Well, here's the question.
I will be devastated.
What's the list? Is it the list of people who
This is a list of people that were, okay, so apparently...
Did they attend the parties or did they commit crimes?
So apparently, now just because you attended a Sean Combs party doesn't mean anything. Apparently there was like a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You can go to this after freak party that happened like in the after hours. So like the upstairs. So you'd go to a party, and then there was a point where the party went to the other party. And that's where all this freaky deaky stuff. And some people would just watch. Some people would videotape. Some people would be involved, I guess. I don't know. We're still finding out.
And then here's the question. If you went to the freaky deaky party, as you so lovingly put it, then do you know that the people that are involved in here, if there's a bunch of women, do you know that they're sex slaves? Or do you think that they're just a bunch of fans and, kind of roadies or people that throw themselves at celebrity? Is that what you're thinking this is all happening for?
I don't know. And of course these are allegations, and we need to have evidence, and he needs to, get his time in court and all that sort of stuff. But I'm just saying, like, my point about talking about this is I feel like when the names come out, and obviously I think, if the evidence holds, I think it's going to be hard for a lot of people to just, put the person that they've liked, and marry that with the allegations if they turn out to be true, right? Like, because it's just, it's hard to imagine that could possibly be true. And a lot of people are mentioning like Justin Bieber and his whole career, and Usher and his whole career, and just being like, what the hell happened to these kids? It's just going to be, it's just going to be really hard. And are we going to know for sure? So the attorney, I think his name is Tony Busby. So he comes out in this press conference. He's like, the list is going to shock you. And my whole thing is like, give us a freaking list. I'm so tired of lists are going to shock you. And there's no list. It's like, where's the list? I want to know these people. But I also want evidence, because don't put out a list and then there's no evidence, right? Like, you can't put a list out there and put people's, especially celebrity names, through mud and then not have the evidence, right? Like, that's just messed up. But still, it's crazy, crazy, crazy. Yeah, and I'm bummed about the
I can't find it right now, but I was searching through a bunch of pictures right now, trying to find the one of me and Garth Brooks outside of a nightclub in San Francisco, where KGO sent me because he was giving this kind of secret performance.
Oh,
and he was so nice out on the sidewalk, stopped to take pictures with people, and
again, it's allegations. Yeah. I'm not saying he did it. Okay, so I'm not saying he did, and I really. There's a reason why we say allegedly, because again, but apparently this woman was his hairdresser. So very, in close quarters, and it happened relatively recently. 2019 is not that long ago. So it's not like this is something that happened, many, 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 many years ago. It is something that happened relatively recently. So that's all. We'll see what happens in the next, I guess, 30 days with Diddy. And I guess we'll see what happens with Garth Brooks. So I don't know. It's nuts.
Something happens to people, I think, not, again, allegedly, right? When they get famous and they feel powerful and invincible and like the rules don't apply to them.
Yeah. And again, it's power. Just like we were talking with Newsom, right? It's like you get this power, and then all of a sudden you feel like you could just do whatever the hell you want to do. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Like, and back to the freaking Intuit Dome thing. I don't think anybody doesn't think that that's just the worst idea ever. Like, nobody, if you were close to Newsom, you're like, this doesn't look good. Nobody close to him, they should have told him, like, you do know that this doesn't look good. The optics look terrible. And I don't think that Gavin Newsom gives a shit. Sorry. I just don't think he cares. And it doesn't look good for you, Newsom. I'll be the friend to tell you it doesn't look good.
He'll be the friend. Someone should have been the friend. Someone should have been the friend with Quiznos too. Like, if you do this and everyone really knows, did they think we weren't going to look, or that there weren't reporters that were checking the legislation?
Yeah, he's an idiot.
That they had one business that was exempt and everybody else is in for the paying of higher wages, and that this is your buddy. Right. It's the same thing here. The people are donating to your campaign, and they're the one people that get the special preference.
Yeah.
Come on.
All right, I have one more story before we end the show, and I don't know if you've heard about this thing that has happened, and it's kind of a TikTok thing. And things online, people have the best of intentions, and then it takes off, and then it gets ruined, as things often happen. Have you heard of the You Deserve the Purse movement? Have you heard of this? You deserve the purse. Okay.
No, but I feel like I want the purse. Is the purse filled with cash?
Don't we all? Let me see if I can bring up the video. Okay, so here was the thing. So it started on TikTok. Let me see if I could bring it up. I hate these videos because they never play properly for me. Okay, I'm just going to describe it. Okay, so this woman is walking through, I think like Target or something, and she's in the baby aisle, and all of a sudden she sees amongst the diapers and everything a purse. Okay, and so she thinks to herself, what happened in this moment? You know, like when you're in the grocery store aisle and you see like bananas among the cookies, right?
Sure.
And you're like, a decision was made. Like, F the bananas, I'm buying the cookies.
That's right.
I'm leaving the bananas, I'm taking the cookies. So that's what she kind of thought about this purse, is like, I'm not going to buy the purse because I need the baby stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
So the woman was like, you know what? I'm going to buy a $100 gift card.
Mm-hmm.
And she hid it in the diapers, and it just, she kind of wrote a note like, you deserve the purse, because she was like, you know what, the next time a woman buys something, she's going to get a little treat, and just to get yourself something, because she understands how hard it is for moms to kind of get something for themselves.
Sure.
Because they're sacrificing for their kids, right?
I love the sentiment. That's nice.
That's a really nice sentiment. Mm-hmm. So and so she, you know, she had a pretty decent following on social media, and so she naturally posted it on TikTok. And she was like, you know what, if you have the means and can, you know, do it yourself, maybe think about doing it. And so people did. And so they were like, you know, what they could afford, maybe $20, whatever. They were putting it inside diapers. Well, guess what happened? People were just destroying diapers, formula, just to take, not to buy the formula, just to get and look for whatever was in there. And so, you know, obviously then she like was, you know, telling people, I'm really disappointed. I was just trying to help a new mom. I just did this yesterday and a Target got ransacked. She says this behavior feels disrespectful because the entire initiative is based on mothers giving back and taking care of themselves while navigating the challenges of parenting. I think that kind of behavior adds another layer of stress. Now I have to go to another store because diapers have been damaged or the formula available has been opened. It distracts from the essence of what we aim to create. I wish people would stop doing this because it started off as something so beautiful and pure, but it's been made into something ugly.
This is why we can't have nice things.
This is why we can't have nice things. But then there was this other aspect. I follow this guy on social media. His name is Professor Neil. I don't know if you guys follow him. If you do, I love him. He kind of talks about masculinity. I don't know what kind of professor he is. I don't read his bio, but he always like takes like these kind of masculine posts and kind of deciphers them for everybody else. And he's really good at it. Anyways, he took this thing because apparently guys were getting offended, right? Like, oh, they deserve the purse and all this sorts of things. And he was saying, you know, the only reason why you're offended is because you're not buying the formula. Like, if you bought the diapers, you could have gotten the money. Mm-hmm. You could have gotten it. But you're delegating the buying of the diapers and the buying of the formula to the woman. Now, if you didn't do that, it wouldn't just be for the woman. It would be for you as well, which I thought was just a, you know, really good take on the whole entire thing. I don't know if he's really a professor. I think he is. I don't know. But yeah, I was, this is why we can't have nice things. What would you do though, Kim, if you were like buying something and found money inside like formula or a diaper? I mean, I just feel like moms do have it hard like that. I mean, I've experienced it like that. I never put back a purse, but I usually buy things I can afford at the time I can afford it. But
I definitely have not purchased things for myself because I know that I have $100 yearbook to buy or a homecoming dress to buy. Absolutely. Exactly. And that's okay because I can do without it. Like, I don't need that. I don't need extras. It's fine. Yeah. I'm not going anywhere anyway. It's okay. But I think it's a nice thing to do. And I'm sorry that people weren't able to see it for what it was and that they didn't just let it be, you know, because that would have been a movement that I could have seen growing. and being really lovely, and a way to kind of like the pay it forward in the drive-through line at Starbucks where you buy the thing for the person behind you or what
I
have
hate
you.
that though. We disagree on that. I hate that.
I
I really do. I hate it.
People being
so
nice to people. Well, because then you
Drives
feel
me
obligated
freaking
to
nuts.
do it for the
Yes,
next thing. Yeah,
exactly.
I get it.
Don't do it. It dies with me. I'm just letting you know. Does that make me a terrible person? I don't want you buying my coffee because I don't want to buy anybody else's. I did not ask you to buy my coffee. Do not buy my coffee. I can buy. You know what? I don't ever even do it anyway because I don't go through the drive-thru. But I'm just telling you, don't buy my coffee. I didn't ask for it. It dies with me. It's stupid. Calvin says, donate to your local charity instead of gifting secretly. Ricky thinks it sounds like a prank. Like this is just something to get clout, which. You know, the pessimist in me always thinks that too. Like I'm such a pessimist with social media nowadays because everyone's trying to do things for clout. So let's just, I know, probably. I don't know. I know. Oh, look, Heather hates it too. Thank you, Heather. I hate it. It dies with me. It dies with me. I do not like it, but I don't go through the drive-thru anymore anyway. I always order things through my app. Just leave me alone with that crap. It's so stupid.
I found the picture.
Oh, okay. What's the picture of the purse?
Me and Garth Brooks.
Oh, you. Oh gosh. Okay.
Jennifer and I was on a mission. It finally popped up.
Okay, let's see.
It's not that big of a deal. It's just a moment that I thought he was nice.
Oh
yeah. Yeah.
That is a nice picture.
Yeah, he was nice.
Look at Garth.
He was nice at that moment, so I hope he didn't really do the things he's being accused of.
I know. Yeah. It is so disappointing. You know, I don't. Look, I'm just gonna say this. I don't think, again, it's just allegations against Garth Brooks. I don't think it's in the same vein as like Newsom with power. But do you think that sometimes like male celebrities, because I don't know about women, but maybe women too, like, do you think that they just don't realize like that people don't want to see their junk? Like, do you think that it's just this idea of I'm Garth Brooks or I'm fill in the blank celebrity? Like, of course you want to see my junk. Like, is it that kind of thing? Like, of course, because there has to be. I'm not a celebrity, but can you imagine like being a rock star or whatever country star and thinking, of course they'd want to see my ass, right?
Ew, no.
But I'm just thinking out loud. Like, maybe he thinks people want to see him. Am I wrong here? Am I thinking just?
Well, yeah. You think you're special if you have that celebrity. Yeah, that's what you think.
Maybe not that it justifies it, but I'm just wondering, like, if you're in close proximity, you're part of his team, you do his hair, and he's walking around with his junk out. Maybe he just thinks like, I'm Garth Brooks. Who cares? It's my junk. You're part of my team. You want to look at it. I mean, it doesn't mean you have to grab her hands and touch it if that's the allegation that she's making. But maybe he just thinks that, you know, we're hanging out, I'm hanging out, sort of thing. Not that it's okay. Again, if that's true, he should be charged with that. But I'm just wondering if these celebrities are always accused kind of the same sort of thing. If they think in some way that because they're a celebrity, people want to see every part of them and they don't. Yeah.
And as evidenced by the whole grab him by the pee comment, right? I don't even care. I don't even ask first. I just go grab them because everybody wants a piece of me. Everybody wants my hand on them, right?
Yeah. No, exactly. Care. Ricky says I'm special and my stuff stays in my 501s. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, I really hope all the allegations against Garth Brooks. You know, I really hope the allegations against P. Diddy aren't true because they're absolutely horrific. But I'm actually thinking that a lot of that stuff is true because it seems to me that they actually have a lot of evidence against the dude, which is really, really freaking sad. So that list is supposed to come out in the next 30 days. All right. That is our show. I want to say thank you to Cindy for the big $10 donation to our show. The super chat is live. Thank you so much to people that donate. I also want to say thank you to Harry who donated $5 as well. We can't do the show without you guys. Honestly, we need your support. So if you could donate to our super chat and super stickers, even if you're watching on the recording, which most of you do, you don't watch the live show. Most of you watch after, but we appreciate when you guys watch. You could still donate through the super chat and the super stickers, and also our Patreon. If you want to find our Patreon, it's at thenikkimadoroshow.com. thenikkimadoroshow.com. We love doing it. I didn't get my cocktail today.
I
don't
didn't
know what happened to
either.
my husband.
We both made requests, and the requests were not honored or
Our
answered.
husbands failed us. Today was National Boyfriend Day. I wish my husband, my forever boyfriend, a happy National Boyfriend Day, and everyone thought that it was his birthday because they can't read that I said boyfriend. And they didn't read it. They misread it so bad that Facebook thought I was fooling people, and they deleted the comment. They deleted the whole post. They thought that I was misleading people. Yeah. Facebook messaged me and said, "You're trying to mislead people." I'm like, no, everybody can't freaking read. So
Come on.
Happy National Boyfriend, husband. But anyways, yeah. So anyways, please support our show. Go on our Patreon. It's a one-time a month donation, and we can't do the show without you. And support our sponsor, Auntie Tabby's Island Flavors Guava Barbecue Sauce. It is so delicious. So just go to auntietabbys.com. It's right there on your screen. This is delicious. It's so freaking good. And if you use the coupon code NICKKIM, NIKKIM, you get 10% off every single time you order. So it's such a great deal. NIKKIM. Use that coupon code when you go to Auntie Tabby's, AUNTYTABBYS.com, and get your bottle of guava barbecue sauce straight from the island of Jamaica. Look at that picture. Look, it's so good. Look at that. Oh, the hot sauce. They're going to be adding that. You had to grab it early. She's making more of it. That's also going to be coming back onto the website. So make sure when it's on there, you grab it very quickly. All right. We will be back next Thursday at 5 o'clock, hopefully with our friggin' cocktails, husbands. But we thank you all so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hit that thumbs up button and have a great, great weekend. Make sure you get out, register to vote. We love you. Bye-bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. You're sprout like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.